Good day, brother and sister, spiritual patriots. Welcome to another episode of the Patriot and the Lama Show with my brother from another mother, Master Lama Rasaji, and me, Jimmie Schwinn. Love you all very, very much. Got some exciting things to talk about on episode 74, believe it or not. Episode 74, portals as above, so below. We really think we got to put some more time into explaining these portals. What is the purpose of portals? How are they created? And are they good or evil for humanity? We know that we've been talking about 11/11/2022 and the portal that's going to open up then, which the Lama is going to talk about again today. It is going to bring changes to this planet like you do not even understand. Okay, it's going to be significant. And we're going to get into more detail about that. Remember, 11/11/22, not even 30 days away, less than 30 days away. And all you have to do is become a free member of the Circle of Life community at Rasaji.com, which is God's joy. Rasaji.com. You can see it below, and you can get access to that live. Okay, it's going to go from 11/11 a.m. Central Time to 2 p.m. Central Time. It's going to be great. It's going to be awesome. We're going to do prayers, meditation. We're going to have a wonderful time. You're going to feel the energy coming through there like you do not even understand. So make sure you do not miss it. And if you're not a free member of the community, what are you waiting for? Go do it. Get her done. Make sure that you spread this video right now as we're live and after the recording. Spread it, spread it, spread it. Get it out there, okay? You know, Facebook tries to restrict us. You know that. You see, I've showed the Patriot showed you before where we're getting almost 100% engagement on some posts, 50%, 10%, 100%, 90%, and they try to restrict us. Well, they don't try. They do restrict us because they don't want the truth to get out. Their whole system is falling apart, okay? All of this stuff is coming down. It's crumbling around them. And it's very exciting to be involved in this topic today. Again, make sure that you share now, please, and like, comment, so that we get more shares out there. But Brother Rasaji, we got this big, big, big event coming on 11/11/2022. And, this is going to be a portal that is going to be, from what you've been saying, like none other for a long time. Can you talk about, the purpose of portals? We know that the property that my wife and I purchased is actually got a portal on it, right? It's got a 4D portal because of the Comanche Indians. Actually, having the fire and chanting and praying.
The penance that they paid there, right?
Right. So can you get into what the portals are? What is a portal? How is a portal created? And, go through that from what you know personally from firsthand experience and also the Lamasery.
Sure, Jimmy, I'd be happy to. About every 100 years, a portal is created by some mystical group of commonality. Example, the Cherokee Indians, several centuries ago, created a portal in a little town called Black Mountain, North Carolina, right off US 9. And it's still there today. And they spent about 300 years doing penance there. And it opened up a portal between 3 and 4D. A lot of people know about the mystical group, the Essenes, that were dissatisfied Jewish scholars that did not like the direction politically that their faith was going. So lo and behold, the scholars decided, well, we're going to get back to nature. So they begin to meet by the Dead Sea. And over a period of 300 years before Christ's incarnation, they had created a portal actually in the Dead Sea. There's people today still going on pilgrimages to the Dead Sea, going in and out, and swearing that that they've had their bursitis and their arthritis, relieved. Different skin diseases. They've gone in and they've got makeup lines now organically that are made from compounds and liquid molecules that come from the Dead Sea, saying that they're out of what the Essenes did, over a couple of millenniums ago. Usually, when a portal's created, according to Lama's theory, it's about on an average about every 100 years. It's usually, Jimmie, created from 3D here to pierce 4, and sometimes they hope to go as high as 5D. The reason that they're created for here is the saying is we're knocking on heaven's door. So humanity is knocking. Some enlightened individuals get together with commonality for God, and they're wanting to knock on heaven's door. And the benefit of that portal is there's there's a saying, that death is the dreary back door to the other side. There is a door of glory for those who overcome, and those doors swing both ways. Now, you're going to find this interesting. That's why we're so excited about 1111. About every millennium since Adam was placed on the earth 175,000 years ago, there is a portal that opens up, usually temporarily. For instance, this one's going to be about 21 days, and it actually opens from 5D to 3D. And people say, well, what's the difference between that portal? The difference in that portal is that God sends one of his messengers to help open that portal, because this is God answering the petition of the vortexes and portals that has been penance to him. In all the faiths that eventually led into religions, we know that humans over the years, Jimmie, have made different sacrifices to a God, right? So we know that the Jewish faith did the lamb, and we know this is why Christ was referred to by the church as the Lamb of God who take away the sins of the world. There's no better sacrifice, Jimmie, and penance done to the Heavenly Father than these portals that are initiated by humanity of gifted children that are connected to the Heavenly Father. It accelerates the communication. What it also accelerates, it's the old saying, like out of the Lord's Prayer, on earth as it is in heaven, as above, so below. And that's really what we wanted to talk about today, is that these are gateways, these are stairways, these are portals. When you look at the human body, Jimmie, everything's a portal. When you look at the palms of our hands, they're small portals. The soles of our feet are small portals. We have 7 pretty large portals. How large are they, Lama Rasaji? Well, I want people to think about a good sized sailboat, big enough to race in the Gold Cup. And imagine the steering wheel of that sailboat. Now imagine 7 of those steering wheels corresponding to the endocrine gland system in our body. And those are portals. The yoga masters referred to them in Sanskrit is the word chakra, which means wheel that spin, wheel that spun. So here we have it. And what's happened today, I mean, I can come to mind about a dozen major portals that has opened up. Now, I'm going to tell people that there was a portal opened up in Monte Picchu some 37,000 years ago. And that portal stayed partially open for 36,000 years. That was one of the most profound portals that ever opened up, and it opened up in northern Peru. But here's the kicker, Jimmy. This is the door is going to continue to open for 21 days. The first day is going to come. It's just like the pulsing that we do in exercise number 4 at the end of Tai Chi Swim, where we bring and pulse our hands. Then on the second day, it's going to open a little bit more. On the third day, in 21 days, it's going to be fully open. And the goal is, if there's enough of us that are doing spiritual purification and practice, then maybe this portal doesn't totally close, Jimmie. And then according to the Lamasery, that we will have the strength of the portal for 33 years. And that is going to help so many people with transformation. It's going to help a lot of people with ascension. But if you've been a real bad person, if you've been mistreating, especially children, if you've been accelerating, abusing nature, some of these industry companies that, dump PCB oil and stuff in our water table. I mean, if you've been really bad, I wouldn't want to be you the next 33 years. If you've been hell bent on destroying God's earth or his precious innocent children, whether in the womb or whether out of the womb, right? Then I wouldn't want to be you the 21 days, but especially the 33 years afterwards. So that gives people kind of a grounding of why portals and kind of how they come together. Back to you, brother.
Yeah. Now, when we discussed, and I want to get into more about the portals around the planet, and we know this portal is pretty much going to be opened up to the Earth in whole, correct? Is there any geographic location for this portal?
Absolutely. And people have been picking up on it. Mount Kailash is a very important already pressure point, giant chakra in the earth. According to astronauts that have flown and orbited the earth, either on the way to the moon or whatever. And this goes all the way back to, the Gemini flights, where they were just circling around the earth before they ever left the outer atmosphere. And they said that over Mount Kailash, that they can see the 7 prisms of light coming out of the top of the mountain like it's laser beams. But this has been going on for years before we even knew how to use lasers, Jimmie. So imagine how profound. It's supposed to open up there. And why that is significant, if you look geographically where Mount Kailash is, it makes perfect sense. The backside of India, Nepal, Tibet, and China all back up almost in a circular way to that. So those 4 countries, all 4 of them claim to take credit for Mount Kailash. Oh, Mount Kailash is ours. No, Mount Kailash is mine. Mount Kailash is from humanity. Ancient India, where we can trace most of the beginning of humanity under Abba, around the northern part of India to Tibet and Nepal. And they say that the physical universe was created, whether it's say so or not, it's probably already, Jimmie, the strongest chakra or portal of the earth is Mount Kailash, Jimmie. So it's supposed to penetrate Mount Kailash, go through the center of the earth. It's going to activate, which some claim is a miniature sun in the middle of the earth, and activate that. And then it's going to circle from the South Pole around the earth, and it's going to cover the earth in an outer globe. So everything that's living on earth is going to be impacted by this portal. And this is the kind of portal, like I said, it only happens about once every millennium, brother. So people better get their seatbelts ready. They better tighten it up. And it's time to get your prayer beads out. It's time to pray. It's time to meditate. And it's also time to do whatever you can do to cleanse that 4D body. And why is that important? Because for about 21 days, it's going to feel like there's no resistance between 3D and 5D, Jimmie. It's going to be as close to a stairway to heaven as that we have seen in at least a millennium. Back to you, brother.
Or for some people, it's going to be a stairway to hell.
Could be.
Right?
Be.
On the
Wouldn't want
judgment
to be
side,
certain people.
right? On the judgment side of the equation, all these people that have been thumbing their nose up, to the Creator, are going to be in for a rude awakening. And the folks that want to start World War III and the New World Order and all of these evil things that they're doing, they're going to have a rude awakening. They've been given plenty of time to repent and do what's right. Again, you're talking about a 21-day period where this is going to be open, coming down through Mount Kailash into the earth itself, building almost like an internal energy sun, then going back up as you would do with the shield of the earth, and surrounding that and just beaming down this energy onto the planet. I'm really excited about this. I feel personally the energy building up. I can feel it myself. And, now 20 months plus into Tai Chi Gong, the first 2 months of breathing only. And then, the last 18 months plus of doing the exercises, opening up all of these mini portals in our own body, which some people call chakras. But at the end of the day, what I've analyzed based on doing this and watching what's happened in my own life, all the way around, from my health to my finances to my manifestation capabilities, it's enhanced them tremendously like nothing else has. And what that is doing is, practicing the breathing, breathing the energy in, breathing more oxygen in the body, oxygenating more of your organs and stuff, but then working on opening up all of your energy portals within your body yourself. Because like the Lama says, you are a portal. Why do you think enlightened beings can dematerialize and rematerialize in a different location, or have two bodies materialize simultaneously, or three in multiple locations with multiple witnesses, including our favorite Lama right here, Brother Rasaji? I mean, I'm reading a great book right now, Autobiography of a Yogi. It's the last book that Master Lama Rasaji had recommended. Well, it's the last book I'm reading that he recommended, because I love reading. Remember, leaders are readers, and reading helps you even improve your brain power. Absolutely. More so than any other learning capability, a way of learning, period. But I'm reading this book. It just draws you in. You want to read more and more and more. You'll have to actually pull yourself away from it, or you'll be sitting there for hours. And, they had the yogis, the gurus dematerializing and rematerializing in, other locations. Even, when we were talking to Brother Rasaji this morning about the science of the holy science, right? And the gentleman that wrote that book, and it was the mentor, the guru of the guy that wrote the autobiography of the yogi. And right. He was telling me, wait till you get further in the chapter, where literally the guy's taking a train, the only way to get to the place they're going. And the guru says, no, I'll see you there. And he's there before the guy gets there on the train. And another thing is, when he went to, when he was as a youngster escaping to go to the Himalayas with a couple of his friends, the guru that he was supposed to go see, that his father wanted him to give a letter to, appeared to a guy bathing in the Ganges, but was sitting right in the room with him there. So these are not things. There's a patent, by the way, also in the U.S. Patent Office where they say you get your chakras into a certain frequency, you can walk through walls.
Right.
That's in the U.S. Patent Office, okay? So when
Well, we
people
know
say,
that
oh, this is...
Jesus demonstrated that 2,000 years ago, 36 hours after the resurrection, when he comes back to the upper room to validate what Mary Magdalene and Mother Mary had witnessed on Easter morning, that at that time the apostles were just not buying it. Outside of John the Beloved, the apostles and the disciples thought the two women were lying. And Jesus went there to set that record straight really fast. So what does he do? He walks through the wall in the midst of them. And that's when Thomas examines the wound and the side from the spear on the cross. It also, he eats with them. And now he's eating fish, he's drinking wine, he's drinking water. When he goes to leave, he goes right out through the ceiling. So here is a person that has a body that's able to be touched, a body that's able to absorb and eat food and drink, but is yet vibrating at such a frequency that can go through a landmass like most humans go through water. So this was demonstrated by the master of masters 2,000 years ago, brother, because he was to show us what was human potentiality. And that's been going. And this is the age that we are really. I am so excited because even just 10 years ago, I didn't know that this was coming. I started hearing about this coming in the last couple of years. And I kept saying, when is it going to line up? And then a few months back, it says on 11/11. I'm thinking, God, that's Veterans Day. So here we go with spiritual patriotism. So that's one issue that's going on. And then when you look at what 11/11 does, we make reference with our languages, and we use the reference. Oh, the 11th hour. Oh, we know all about the 11th hour. I mean, from kids shows like Cinderella, and she's getting ready to lose the ruby slippers, and her carriage is going to turn back into a pumpkin. You better hurry up because midnight. We know 11 means get ready, because we're in the final stages of this vibration. This vibration is getting ready to be over. A new vibration is coming. A new age is upon us. You better get ready for it. And this is what this signifies, Jim. And I'm just so excited, brother. There's not been a better time to be on planet Earth than it is right now, brother. I'm so excited.
Yeah, people, as you grow up in Christianity, or you're Catholic or Christian. Again, I love all my brothers and sisters that are Catholic and Christians. But there's so much information that they don't give you because they want you to have the intermediator, into the Father, which you don't need at all. And they don't really want you to follow the true path of Christ. That's why they don't show the entire path of Christ, like we talk about on episode 21 of the Patriot and Lama show, the lost journey of Jesus, knowing that Christ mastered all forms of yoga, mastered Tai Chi Gong in like 6 months, and was the most enlightened human being because he was a birth of a human mother that was prepared from birth and fed by angels and prepared by the Essenes, right, to handle.
Well, let's just pause there for a second and show how that. So think about it. If Mary is the descendant of 5 generations of a mystical group designed to create a portal to the birth of the baby, what kind of portal do we think they helped create Mother Mary for Jesus's entrance? So there we go. She was the human portal. I mean, just think about how profound that is. I mean, we're right back talking about portal again. This is why this is such a great subject matter. Sorry to interrupt, brother.
Oh, no problem. Well, the bottom line is they don't want you to know what Christ really did because they don't want you to truly follow that path. The same way that, you know, when you start looking into more of the, you know, the religion around the folks in India, right? And
Amen.
these yogis and these gurus that, you know, dedicate their lives to meditation and prayer and talk about opening up their own internal portals. I mean, these folks almost, I mean, they dematerialize them, or they're there, but they're not speaking, but they're somewhere else talking. And you know, they could be 1,000 miles away or wherever they want to be. And you know, having these kind of things happen, you know, how could you control the population of the planet if everybody's stepping into their power? You'd have absolutely no control of it. But like you said, there's a new energy coming that is going to light this planet up like never seen before. And it's going to be very good for people that are working on their spiritual development and growth and all of that. And it'll be good for people that are working on their, you know, their transformation, you know, working on themselves, working to be better. But it isn't going to be good for the people that are stealing and lying and conniving and, you know, false prophets and people that want to destroy the country or countries, the world, or want the new world order. All of them are going to get lit up. And, you know, everybody wants things, you know, the world is like a microwave mentality. Everybody wants things to happen like this, but they don't understand a day in Abba's eyes is like 24,000 years.
Right.
So like 10 years or 33 years is like a blink of an eye, okay, to the
Absolutely.
creator. So, you know, sometimes things take a little bit longer to start unrolling faster, but I really feel, and you were talking about the water rabbit, 2023 being the water rabbit, and how that's going to affect, you know, the speeding up of everything. But you know, Abba's going to do it in his time and his way, but it definitely is accelerating. I can definitely feel the energy. I almost felt today in my meditation that I almost started, and this is very weird, but my body, I think if I would have kept going and not thought about, you know, getting done at that moment, I actually started feeling light, you know, like you start to almost feel like you're a balloon, you know, and starting to floating. And this is pretty amazing stuff happening after only 20 months of doing this. Now, right now, I'd like to ask anybody that's involved in Circle of Life, whether you're a free member of the community or you're a private member or you are, you know, a teacher and adept or advanced training, leave your testimonial, positive or negative, in the comments, sow some good seed, let people know what's going on and, you know, how you're doing. Again, it's nice to, you know, one thing I would say, it's nice to get yourself educated on what the history of the planet is. But once you understand it, you understand that we've been deceived from day one, that there's pretty much very not nice people that just say it, very not nice people running this planet right now. Don't dwell on all the negativity. Don't feed yourself all of this negativity. You really need to work on you and yourself. Now, the portals, you know, when we were looking at Cindy and I, this was last Thanksgiving, the weekend of Thanksgiving. We had just come back from visiting you, and we weren't intending to buy anything.
Right.
We were intending just to look. Okay. And so we're looking at land at this place in it's called Comanche County, Texas. And so we go to the second piece we looked at, and my wife and I were lit up like Christmas trees. The energy was freaking incredible. I felt unbelievable. Hawks were flying in the sky, a beautiful scenery, but just the energy coming from that place was amazing. I was like lit up like a Christmas tree. My wife was lit up like a Christmas tree. We were walking around on this property. And so I put a down payment. I bought the property, right? Cindy and I will be building there at a later date. But when I came to you, And I'm like, Brother Lama, you know, something's up with this property. This is what happened. And you go, help, well, show me a picture, show me where it's at. And then, you know, we talked about it.
Right.
And of course, and people can think this is, you know, crazy or non-crazy or whatever, but the Lama's got witnesses where he's been in multiple places simultaneously, and he's actually helped people, you know, pass through death's door, but it really isn't death's door, is it?
No.
That's what everybody thinks it is, but it really isn't death's door. And
It's their
he
miniature
actually,
portal is what it is. Every time we go from our body, we're going through a portal. And usually it's the solar plex portal because that's the center portal of our body. Revelation says there are 7 candles, 7 gates that open 7 church, but one like unto a sun, S-U-N, as in sun, as in solar plexus. So most of the people, when they leave their body, whether it's at night when they go to sleep, Jimmie, or whether they're leaving for the last time, they are going through the portal. And if you ask people what is the most common near death experience they have, oh, I'm in a vortex and I'm going around. I feel like Dorothy in The Wizard of Oz when her house was going up in a tornado. What is that? That's a vortex. That's what's happening. So, as you know, I have the ability to walk in 4D when spirit wants me to. So I just went into 4D when you bought that property, and I talked to some of the Comanche elders, and you know they have been doing penance there for a long period of time, and a good portion of your property overlap where they did penance. So they had opened up a portal in that area, and that's why you and your wife felt the energy so strongly there.
and still it's cranking. I mean, you know, when you said that to me, and I was like, okay, that makes a lot of sense. My son went and researched that area and found out that the Comanches lived there. And, you know, where you said on the map, like the 3 properties right next to each other, there was like a space of the land that was pretty much, you know, with nothing there except like, you know, the dirt and stuff. And that's where they were gathering, praying and chanting and doing their penance right there. And it covered those 3 properties. It lit that whole property up.
Oh, yeah.
And I can't wait to build the round house there. I won't be building a square house. I'll be building a round house. And make sure you folks round your corners out in your houses. Put round furniture in there.
Absolutely.
Get a hold of feng shui and make sure that you do that. I got to tell you something. I had a call center for over 10 years, and people used to say, you know, Jimmie, why is your seats like around like this, right? Where I'd have it, because I would look at every salesperson that came in and I would put them in their success direction based on their birth date. Okay. I would put them in their success direction, and I tested it, and people that were in their success direction literally outsold 2 to 1 if they weren't in that direction. So it does matter 100%. And there's billionaires out there that set their whole offices, their whole headquarters up feng shui. There's a reason for that, right? Because it is the energy interacting with the portals of your body and how you are working. Again, what I was explaining about how I break this down into like a, you know, something that hopefully everybody can understand. But you know, you're a soul having a human experience, and we have a spirit within us that is God, the creator spirit. And you know, for the body and the spirit and the soul to work in harmony together, it's very important that these portals of energy portals are not clogged up. Just like your veins could get clogged up, your arteries could get clogged up. And like you said many times, it happens in the energy body before it happens in the physical body.
Oh, absolutely.
So when you're keeping your portals open and you're keeping your energy flowing and everything working, you know, together in harmony, it really accelerates so many good things for you, your health wise, your relationship wise with the creator, the way that you can manifest. You got to be very careful. You got to really mind your mouth and your mind. You got to master your mind and your mouth. You really got to be careful what you say and what you say with passion. Make sure you're always saying words to build people up, not tear them down, and including yourself. I mean, so many people out there condemning themselves, condemning their businesses, condemning their family members. You got to be very, very careful with that stuff, especially as this portal opens up that hasn't been around for 1,000 years. That's what you said, Brother Lama, right? 1,000 years.
1,000 years.
And it's going to light this world up. And we got portals all over the place. Can you talk about some of the other portals around the planet that you're aware
absolutely.
of, and their function? And then I want to talk about what you told me the other day about what's coming after the 21 days through that portal that Abba's sending. So let's talk about the other portals first, and then we'll get right into that one.
Well, we briefly talked about the Cherokee portal, which is about 30 minutes outside of Asheville in a small place. I mean, I could actually send people there. There's a bread and breakfast that is phenomenal. It's built with rock stone. The guy that had this house built, he had a fireplace built where on one side of the fireplace, it opened to the living room, but in his bedroom was the back side of the fireplace. So it opened in his master bedroom too, which was very, very cool and smart. He had a balcony built around that, and his patio was circular. So he loved to do morning meditation at sunrise, and he would go out through the kitchen, and the portal covers the whole patio, the descending part of the portal. When you look up on Bald Mountain, you can see a vortex coming down. It looks like the shape of a giant shoebox, Jimmie, and it's coming diagonally down from the mountain and into the portal. And through the portal, I mean, he's seen Jesus. He saw Buddha. Babaji appeared to him right out of the portal. He said when Babaji appeared to him, that before Babaji came out of the portal, he was hearing every animal and every element of nature they would go, Babaji. And then you hear this calm. And they would, Babaji. And it would get louder and louder like thunder. And then all of a sudden, he walked right out of the portal and he looked at him and he said, Jim, how are you? And he looked at Babaji and he realized this, Babaji, you're going to read about Babaji in the autobiography of yoga. They refer to Babaji as the yoga Christ of India. And, a lot of people say Babaji's been around a long time. And if the people go to episode number 21 of the Patriot and the Lama, they're going to realize it was Babaji that shaved Jesus's head in Benares, India, when Jesus was about 24, 25 years old. Paul makes reference to Jesus's head being shaved, and the Apostle Paul refers to it as the Nazarene rite. So Paul shaves his head because he says the angel of the Lord appeared to him. So here's the thing. A couple of days ago on the Day of Lamas, I did a morning thing on our angels among us, right? And I started describing the different angels. But, an angel of the Lord, see, that's an angel that is ministering to the Lord. So Jesus a lot of times was referred to as Prince or King of the angels, right? Mary is Queen of the angels, right? In the Catholic Church, Mary is literally referred to as Queen of the angels, right? So, guys, so that's one vortex, okay? And I've been there many times. I've held Tai Chi Gong retreats in that vortex. And Jimmie, it even comes inside the kitchen of this bread and breakfast. So you know how the Lama loves to cook, right? So the Lama's made his Tibetan chili. I've made my pasta. Sicilians, they don't call sauce, they call it gravy, Jimmie. So I've made my gravy in there. And I remember after teaching all day long, and about 4 o'clock, I started cooking. You know how I like to cook everything fresh. And by 8 o'clock, we're eating, and everybody goes, how can you have so much energy? I said, well, the vortex is still coming right into the kitchen. So man, you're wound up, Jimmie, like an ever ready bunny, man. It's the most amazing energy. There's was a huge vortex, kind of closed now in Monte Picchu, I mentioned. There are 3 vortexes in Sedona, Arizona, that was opened up by the Hopi Indians doing penance, just like the Cherokee Indians. Stonehenge is another vortex. A lot of people, our European friends, know very well of Stonehenge, and that is also a vortex there. There is a couple of ones in the Sahara Desert that they claim that is right over where the ruins of the Ramayana was buried, which this is real powerful because that was the last golden age, Jimmie, on Earth. That was between 25 and 30,000 years ago, and where people were living in the physical body longer, it would make Genesis almost look be like nickel and dime. I mean, people were living in the physical body beyond 1,000 years old. So it's real powerful. So I know of a good half a dozen to dozen pretty good size. Of course, the Lamasery in Tibet is a giant portal, because if the Essenes did what they did for 300 years, imagine what the Lamasery has created in southern Tibet for 3,000 years, Jimmie. And that's one of the reasons I'm so excited about building a Lamasery on North American soil, because we're going to do the same thing. As a matter of fact, we're going to have that baby up and going and be doing penance there in the middle of this 33 years. And that's what I'm really pumped up about, brother. And we're going to be growing squashes and watermelons as big as children. And we're going to bring back the most important thing I'm excited about. We need to do a show on this, Jim. And that is, we're bringing people back to Eden. We're bringing people back to the Garden of Eden. That's going to be a show for the Patriot and the Lama, brother.
Absolutely. And there's a great question I want to ask you real quick from the audience. If you got questions, let's go ahead and put them down about this subject matter, about portals. From Brother Francisco. Does Earth... Okay, so let me put this one up here too. Okay, so Brother Francisco, does Earth have its own energy chakras? And with 1111 portal coming, I wonder how will affect, touch, or have an impact on the Earth's energy.
Absolutely. These portals, in a sense, are chakra point, and they're going to have similar effect on the Earth. Great question, Francisco. Is it going to have on human beings? So let's look at the human beings. So we have small portals in our hands, but everybody knows how powerful, because the hands is where most people first feel their energy, right? And then you have them in your feet. You have tiny ones in your elbows and in your knees. You have 7 large ones, but you also have 5 outside the physical body, but they're in your energy, your 4D and your 5D body, which brings up an important point that I was discussing yesterday with Tommy Truthful on his show. And that is, behind our sun, the 3D sun, there's a 4D and a 5D sun. And in the middle of the Earth, there is a small 4D sun. I really think the Lamasery thinks Portal of Shiva is going to activate that sun. And what is that going to do to the Earth when that sun is activated and everything's brought into? We don't know for sure, but I can tell you what, it's a real exciting time, brother. It is so exciting.
Well, I got some questions rolling in here, so let's keep on getting them. They're all related to this. So, Brother Chuck, when the last portal opened 1,000 years ago, what effect did it have on humanity and the Earth? Great question, Brother Chuck.
Well, it was
Brother
huge.
Lama.
Well, it was huge. I mean, it reversed a lot of wars being done in the world, and that portal was probably the most significant through what's left today in Stonehenge, that we know today in Stonehenge. And they've been able to keep a bit of that open around there, and it affect a lot what was happening in Europe, and also travel and trade that came from the Mideast and the Far East. And if you've traced that area, and then remember what began to happen a couple of hundred years later with Marco Polo and the travels, where did Polo end up going? Well, he went to the Far East. He went into Buddhist lamaseries and actually witnessed monks levitating in the Lama. He came back, and it impacted the Catholic Church. It impacted trade from China and India to Europe. I mean, basically, it opened up the Far East to the European trade. That's one of the most significant things that happened because of that. Back to you, brother.
I got some more good questions from
Good.
Sister Connie. What's the portal on 11/11 going to be like for those who are asleep and caught in the matrix, but not really doing evil things?
Connie, it's a great question. I think we're going to see some events that are going to be of great contrast. I think you're going to see natural events. I think you're going to see downfalls of hierarchy in the next 33 years. You're going to see a lot of governments that's going to be toppled over with a new start and a new beginning. You're going to see the principles that started America not only be revitalized in America, but this time it's going to sweep through Canada. It's going to go down and sweep through Mexico, and there's a good chance. The way the Lamasery views what's going to happen in North America, they're saying it's going to be the New Jerusalem.
Love hearing that. Love hearing that. Here's a very interesting question about the mirror from Sister Rhonda.
Okay.
When I was 2, I had an evil entity come through my mirror.
Okay.
He terrorized me for years. Is there a way to close this type of portal?
Well, absolutely. So here's the thing. First of all, you want to acknowledge we're going to share with the audience how to protect themselves psychically, right? So everybody knows what applied kinesiology is. When you read the definition of applied kinesiology, you'll know that all the benefits you get from the 45-day challenge with Tai Chi Gong go well beyond what applied kinesiology really does. It sounds like when you read the definition, you're absolutely reading the benefits of Tai Chi Gong. But one of the elements in applied kinesiology, they refer to as muscle testing, right? So here's something you guys can try to show you how powerful this can be. Take your left hand and take a tablespoon of sugar and put it in your left hand, and then try to raise your arm and resist, and let somebody try to keep you from raising that arm. And you'll be amazed that you can't raise the arm because the sugar has weakened not only your whole constitution, even on a molecular level. Now watch this. Just say to yourself that I'm a child of God, and I'm a light being of pure light, or I'm surrounded by Christ as light, and just keep repeating that affirmation. And that person will not be able to hold that same arm that held the sugar. It will not be able to keep you from raising your arm because your strength will be phenomenal. So, see, in the universe, the light of truth is the most dominant power in the universe. So when you declare something, I'll tell you another test. Say to yourself that, oh, I'm a female so-and-so, like I'm a female Donna, or I'm a male Jimmie, right? And again, you're going to weaken your condition like the sugar. But when you say, I'm the living Christ, or I'm surrounded by Christ's light and energy, and only his light and energy can come to me and be where I am, you're going to raise that arm up as if there's no resistance at all. And it's telling you, you are speaking the absolute truth. And when you speak the absolute truth in reality, God's light and energy manifests in you multiple times, right? You just, and it shows you who we really are, Jimmie, is light beings.
Yeah, one of the other, there's a lot of good questions coming in. I'm going to keep rolling with them. Here's another one from Brother Benjamin. What's the mud flood part of this portal being open? I don't know if you know what that is, Brother Lama, the mud flood part.
The mud flood part? I don't know that I've heard that term. That term sounds like what people are talking about now in Latin America with all the rains and stuff coming. I don't know that I've ever heard that term. So they might have to enlighten the Lama and explain more what they're talking
Give
about.
us a little bit more info on that.
Information, then maybe I can zero in on it.
Okay, for Sister Lindsay, what human is the portal using for the portal of Shiva? The Lamasery?
Now, the Lamasery was made aware of it a long time ago. And, they told me because they made me over a year ago the global spokesperson for the Lamasery. So, I mean, I know a long time ago I chose to come back and to help humanity. But even then, it wasn't told to me that this portal was coming in at this time. But now, when I really think about it and look back, hindsight's 50-50, right? And so everything's making sense now, because if we wait for the third level, see, we're in the second age of ascension that started about the 17th century. And so if we waited for the third stage, it actually would be 4100 AD. So it would be another almost 2100 years from now for that level. See, I believe the portal is opening up to give the people who have been faithful to the divine, to give them the chance, if they're ready to ascend, if they're ready literally to vibrate 5D, I believe the next 33 years is that resistance to 4100. I think it's going to be neutralized. I think if you're willing to vibrate at a higher frequency, that's going to be neutralized. I believe that there's an old ancient saying in India that goes back thousands of years that says we can become the true Chanda. The Chanda. That means spirit, mind, and body are but one. And see, Jesus made reference to this when he spoke of being born again, being born of the Spirit of the Father. And of course, during that time, Nicodemus and a couple of the Pharisees and Sanhedrin that were sneakily, like Joseph of Arimathea, right? He was another one because Jesus was actually buried in his tomb. He gave his tomb to Jesus's family, which was a big deal back in the day to have a tomb for your actual buried. People were just buried in mounds on the ground back during the time of Jesus. And a lot of times they were nervous about that because sometimes people wasn't fully dead and they would just wake up and pop up over the mounds and stuff. So that's what they got the idea about digging deeper and digging deeper. But if you had a tomb, you were considered very, very wealthy, very affluent. And Joseph of Arimathea donated his tomb to Jesus's body. And Nicodemus and Joseph were passive followers of the Christ. They would sneak around when he was speaking, and they knew what was going on. They were also trying to vote against his crucifixion And they were the only ones. Of course, they were outnumbered politically, but they were voting in favor of the Christ for sure. So the key here is it's really, really big. Back to you, brother.
Yeah, I got another really good question here. Let me see. Okay, so let's discuss a little bit about bad portals, and this goes along with this question
Okay.
from Brother Roscoe. Is the portal under the Notre Dame Church that the dark side was utilizing closed now? Blessings to all.
I think there had a lot. That church completely, burned to the ground. I think one of the reasons that church caught on fire to start with was to get rid of the darkness that was buried beneath there. And I'm to understand that Archangel Michael and his warrior angels had a lot to do with that. That was the skinny that the Lama heard. Archangel Michael is, you know, he's at the root of all martial art development that's ever been done on the planet in the warrior angels. So to a lot of martial artists, Archangel Michael's like this big hero, right? And I got to tell you, again, when I was sharing the Daily Lama on Are There Angels Among Us today, one of the ways that we know what age we're in is when you see a multiplication of particular type of angels almost seeming to clone overnight, then you know you're moving into a particular age. And what I have noticed in the last 5 or 10 years in 4D, I have never, ever seen so many warrior angels. I think the portal opens up. I see Michael at the head of this vortex, and I see the warrior angels coming in like legions right behind him. And he is the angel of justice. You need to know that whatever that justice is, he's the angel of justice. And the Holy Spirit is no respecter of person. I mean, whatever you've karmatically you've been weaving, he's coming to support it. If you've been really weaving good karma, you've been helping God's children, you've been taking care of his planet, you've been loving your neighbor as yourself, you got nothing to worry about. The people who've been destroying consciously, premeditatively his earth and his children, his innocent children, wouldn't want to be them. Jimmie, just wouldn't want to be them right now.
Absolutely not. But that's good. So that was one of the things we were going to talk about. That the general of Abba's armies is coming also through that
Portal.
portal with legions of warrioring angels, battle ready angels, to start doing some dicing and slicing up of some of these very disgusting. I don't even want to call them human beings because they aren't even human beings. But it's time for them
Jimmie, I
to
didn't
meet their
finish
maker.
answering. I
Sure.
got sidetracked. I didn't finish asking the lady's question about the mirror, so I feel bad. I need to do that. Let me tell you what to do. Any mirror that you have right now in your bedroom during this time period, especially the 21 days, cover it. If you have any mirrors in your bedroom, just cover those mirrors, right? If you have neighbors, and I told Tommy Truthful this the other day, I said, if you have neighbors that are aggressive in nature that turn the face of your mirrors toward those places, there's going to be the tendency, I think, of people to show who they really are, and they're not going to be able to help it. So you're not going to be able to hide. God's not going to let you hide. He's going to look at you and see the light of who you really are, or the absence of light. And there's some beings on the planet right now, instead of having a light center in their solar plex chakra, it's like a dark hole in space. And if you examine what a dark hole does, a black hole in the atmosphere does, it's a reverse magnetic flow that tries to absorb something in it. And then what a microwave oven does to food, that's what a black hole in space does to matter. It's like an antimatter thing. And we know that the antimatter is how they came up with the atom bomb. So, dude, I want you to just think about that for a second, right? So, the strongest thing that you can do, if we could get everybody to do the 45, jump into the 45-day challenge, Jimmie, that would be absolutely wonderful.
Yes.
Because I would know for sure that you're doing enough to raise your vibration and your frequency enough. And if the people don't mind that's doing the 45-day challenge, just tell people how powerful the energy has been since you started doing the 45-day challenge. And if they'll go read some of those testimonies, but if you'll acknowledge your energy body, I want everybody to understand your energy body surrounds your physical body 7 feet from your sternum in all directions. And I want you to understand it's the shape of like a navel orange, right? Just like very similar to the earth shape itself. That is your energy body, but that's also your 4D body. And it surrounds your physical body. And the cleaner we can get this energy body now, between now and 11/11, the more power you're going to have, the more peace you're going to have in your life and in your family. I got to tell you, you're going to be hearing and you're going to be seeing things you're not going to believe. And especially in the 21 days, you're going to see and hear things you just can't believe what you're seeing. And the reason I'm saying this, if there's people walking around that are clones right now, that's going to be revealed. If there's demons walking around that look like human beings on the outside, but really they're demons on the children of light are going to be shown the reality of God. Just think of this as right. I'm going to see the reality of God during the portal of Shiva. Back to you, brother.
Yeah, so everybody better get ready, because that's going to be something that some people are going to have a very big, difficult time with. That's for sure. Let's see what Sister Sarah. We know that time has been manipulated along with our calendar. Will the opening of the portal correct this?
Well, you have to understand. See, we know in God there is no time. There's really no space. The time element has been manipulated to set up for 3D to keep human beings in line. Okay. And space is a lot to do with 4D. I'm in 5D. 5D is like that lower level of heaven, right? It's heaven, but it's like that first degree of heaven. Well, that's also the first degree of the omnipresence of God. So there's no time and space the way we think of time and space. Time starts even getting dissolved in 4D. So when you're in 4D, it's like you can do something in 4D in a microwave of a second, but here the vibration is so much lower. In 3D, it could look like that microwave of a second looked like 10 minutes lapsed in the third D. I'll never forget when Babaji came to me before my last trip to India, which was late 88. Late 88, Babaji appeared to me in America. And when he stepped out of the portal and materialized, and it opened up right in where I was teaching class, I turned around and looked at the students that day. I had about 16, 18 students in class. Master David was in that class, I remember, but they were moving so slow. It looked like they had turned to two-dimensional, and their movements were Greek frieze-like, almost like hieroglyphics on a wall, because he had to raise my vibration up high enough to meet his vibration when he pierced through time and space to open up his portal. He pointed his finger at me. He says, I want you in India ASAP. I thought he was going to take me through the portal. I was kind of hoping he was going to take me through the portal. But within 6 weeks, I was in India training with him 6 weeks later. That's how fast all that happened. I remember calling my buddy Jim Gore, who created the Light Center. If you type in "You Are Light," so the letters "You Are Light.org," you'll see the bread and breakfast I was talking about. Jimmie talked about building a round building on Comanche. He built a dome in the early 1980s there by Bucky Fuller, who designed the dome, who was architect of the first domes coming on the East Coast. And a dome automatically makes the structure of the house vibrate in 4D. And I've done a lot of Tai Chi Gong. I could even show you footage on Facebook where I was up in the middle. Now, they've got a light center. Jimmy's going to love this. They got a light center that one of our lamas from our order designed for Jimmie, for Jim Gore up there. And this is what you do. You go sit in these chairs, and it looks like that you're in some ride at Disney getting ready to take off. They start playing music, and the music starts to open up chakras. And then the different lights of the chakras come up over the ceiling and to the colors they're supposed to be. So the music, vibration, and light show goes on. The Tibetan Lama from our order designed that for him. People go in there and have amazing experiences. And the portal itself runs just over the top of the dome. So when I'm up on the mountain at the bread and breakfast and I'm looking down, I know Angela's getting ready to go visit this place. And when I'm looking down, I look down at the dome, but from the patio, I can look up and see the vortex. So the vortex is up on the mountain, but I look down and I see that dome. I've been trying to get them to sell that property to us, Jimmie. It'll be a great place for us to hold retreats and stuff.
Let me ask you a question.
Sure.
The number of good portals versus bad portals.
10 to 1.
10 good to 1 bad?
1 bad, right.
Okay.
10 good to 1. 10 to 1. That's right.
10 to 1. That's very, very good. So
yeah. So a lot of saber. I was on. We both got a good friend in Scotty Sachs of Sullivan Radio, right, Jim? And I was on his show earlier this week, and he kept talking about all the doom and gloom that's being spewed out on the major media. I don't even want to go into on this show for reasons we both know, but he asked me, is all this is going to happen? Is Putin saying what's really? I said, listen, Lama says this is more saber rattling than they've ever seen in a long, long time. If they were going to do 1/10 of what they said they're going to do, they wouldn't be broadcasting. They would just do it. When Hitler took over Europe, everybody thought he was crazy, didn't think he was going to do it. What did he do? Before he started mouthing off, he just slipped over to Austria and went ahead and took over Austria. And then he started moving further closer to Poland. And, England had their head in the sand for the longest period of time. And remember, they had to bring Churchill back just to get them to face reality. He already was occupying France before half the people in England even believed he was doing what he was doing. So let me tell you, Lama Series has been around a long time. And when somebody goes to make a move like that, they just do it. They don't broadcast it. So all of this talk, there's so much saber rattling that has nothing to do. What you need to understand is that God's in control. That's all you need to know. God's in control. And to show you he's in the control, he's coming to visit us. Get ready. He's coming to visit us.
Well, he's going to definitely let people know that he exists, right? That's for sure.
Amen.
Whether they like it or not. So, Sister Ikeo, I
Yeah.
pronounced the name hopefully
Yaakov.
proper.
Yeah.
What is that bad portal? So what is a bad portal
Well,
versus
one
a
of
good
them they
portal?
brought up, the one that used to be under the Notre
Notre Dame.
Dame. Yeah, but let me tell
What's
you,
going on underneath the Catholic Church, Brother Lama?
well,
What's
that,
going on underneath
remember
there?
that burned to the ground. Oh, here's the thing. Now, here's a very interesting thing. Watch how I line this up. People wonder how the tunnels got built. Remember, okay, so bad portals came, tunnels got built to support bad tunnels. And then later they started doing, you know what, with those tunnels. We're not going to talk about that on this show, but you know, with the innocent. That's all I'm
Yeah.
going to say. But they came in that order. So a bad portal, then tunnels, and then bad stuff, right? And they came in that order. So when we've been doing, well, if people sign up, Jimmie, as you know, and get the latest from the Lamasery,
Yes.
they're going to hear the skinny about that. You know, they know that there's 30 updates there now, and they're going to hear how there's some justice that's been coming that way. Just let me say that. I also think, you know, Scotty again, Sachs was asking me, people need to know about 85 to 90% of those bad tunnels have now been destroyed and are out of business. 85 to 90% of the tunnels that were originally bad portals. Remember, that's how they decided where they were going to put the tunnels, was the portals, right? Portals is the key to everything. Jimmie, back to you, bro.
Very interesting. So they're connecting all of these tunnels together with all these negative evil portals.
Right.
And so they have like a negative portal network. So that energy is feeding into the tunnels to the evil stuff that they're doing.
That's exactly right. Jimmie hit the nail right on the head.
Well, you know, 11/11 again is going to be a really exciting day. You know, we're going to be, you know, you're going to be in Florida. I'm going to be in Texas. I almost feel like Florida's the water, Texas is the fire. You know,
Yeah,
the Patriots in
be.
Texas,
Absolutely.
the Lamas in Florida, right? You got the fire and you got the water. But you know what's interesting too that I want to tell everybody that just happened to you and I, and was when I was in Dominican Republic. You know, we had the hurricane coming right for us. I mean,
Right.
right for us. It was going to
Right.
land like right there
Right.
and come up and just do, you know, chaos
Sure.
and mayhem. And I
Sure.
had no fear at all. And I told everybody, I said,
Yeah.
Abba won't let this hurricane come here while I'm here.
Right.
It ain't happening. And then
Sure.
all of a sudden, that hurricane went to the right.
Right.
So then another hurricane, which you've been talking about, all the storms that we're going to be, you were
Line it
talking
up.
about it at the beginning
Line
of
it
the
up.
year
Boom, boom,
on the
boom,
latest of
boom.
the Lamasery about all these storms that would be coming one after another,
Right.
and how that natural disasters would be intensifying, and even weather warfare would be intensifying because you know the evil side of this equation doesn't want to just go easily into the night. You know they're not going to just people think they're just going to come
That's
easily
a
into the
nice
night.
way to say it, Jimmie. I'm surprised you're that nice.
It's not going to happen. But you said that now. So one was headed directly to get hit on the West Coast, come directly across, hit Jacksonville, and that one veered to the right. And then Brother Joseph Land lives in South Carolina, and it was forecasted to hit him directly. And he actually left and went to North Carolina to his other home, and it veered to the right.
Yeah, totally missed him. Totally missed the property.
What is the veering to the right mean, Brother Lama? On all three of us about these.
That's the opposite. That's the opposite rotation of the portal of the hurricane. The portal of the hurricane is rotating to the left counterclockwise, and when it rotates to the right, it means the interjection of positive prayers, meditation, the Lama series. Jimmie, just Sunday morning, the third big storm to come in that 15-day period was Julia, and our teacher in training, Brigetta, as you know who Brigetta is, was in Nicaragua, and the lamasery was focused on that, and it went right around her. So, if you don't think the power of prayer, especially the power of prayer of a spiritual community like Circle of Light, like the Essenes, like the Hopi Indians, like the Cherokee Indians, this stuff works. It brings the good portals of light, Jimmie, in of God, and it protects the children of light. And that's what it's doing. And it's showing y'all right out in the open. Hey, children of light don't dig tunnels. Children of light don't go underneath the earth. We stand tall above on the surface of the earth, being stewards of the earth and being our brothers and sisters' keepers. That's who we are. We join hands together. This is a spiritual battle going on. Anybody that tells you it's not, they got their head in the sand. They're in denial. God's tired of being denied. He ain't going to be denied no more. You watch and see what happens on the 21 days beginning 11/11, and you watch what happens the next 33 years. But just turn to the divine and you'll be just fine. Don't you like that? Turn to the divine and you'll be just fine.
That's a great quote to put on. Turn to the divine and you'll just be fine. Like step into your power, right?
Right.
So,
Absolutely.
all of these hurricanes turn to the right. And what people need to understand is 1,000 people can fall on your right and 10,000 on your left, but you and
Will
your
not be touched.
family can have not one hair on your head touched. When you build a relationship with the divine, give all the glory and honor to the divine, follow the path that the divine's laid out for you to accomplish the destiny that you're created for in this lifetime. Why were you brought back here? A lot of people, they say, oh, reincarnation. What do you mean? Well, if we were intended to live forever, and because of sin of human beings, that governor was put on. And again, the Lama will tell you there's been entities, enlightened beings on this planet that have lived a heck of a lot more than 74 years or 120 years. I mean, the head master at the current lamasery is 130 some years old, right?
Right.
Brother Lama.
Yeah.
So
he's amazing. He's just Bo Young, still got the energy of a healthy 60-year-old. It's just amazing.
right. So, again, this, I was talking to some folks the other day about, they were talking about reincarnation. And what's is interesting is that my wife, Cindy, who on October 6th, we were married 27 years. We've been together 33 years. When we first met, she was talking to me about reincarnation. I would say, you're crazy. What do you mean carnation, reincarnation that I put in the milk and I make some chocolate reincarnation milk? Because I was indoctrinated that reincarnation, that's from the devil. Meditation, that's from the devil. Yoga, oh my gosh, that's from the devil. Don't look at that. Don't even get near it. Don't get near it. Or that's from the devil. Don't look at the stars. Don't look at Abba's, heavens for signs and wonders, because that's of the devil. And by all means, don't question the other 30 years of Christ that they don't document, because that's of the devil. It seems like everything is of the devil that's meant by Abba to ascend people to be Christ-like. And what I'm hoping for folks, because I remember yesterday when we were talking on the Mastermind webinar where somebody was talking about their Christian brothers and sisters really having the veil on them and being so closed-minded that they weren't willing to even listen. And what I would say to everyone is the shaking is coming even more intense than you ever seen it before. People, as the religious structure starts to crumble because the truth starts to be brought to the light, and people start to get educated on what really has been going on, they're going to be reaching out for people like the Patriot and the Lama and our teachers and adepts and other people to help lead them, help give them the information that they need so that they can step in their power. I was thinking about the rapture, right? Now, in the Holy Scriptures and the Hebrew Scriptures, it doesn't really say the word rapture, right?
Okay, right.
It doesn't, caught up hither, when John was taken up and he
Sure.
was given all these visions of the future by Christ.
Right.
And I look at, by looking at and studying a lot more, I think almost rapture is individual.
Oh, it is. Most
Where
definitely.
yes, there could be a mass
Yeah.
a happening of ascension
Sure.
simultaneously, but it almost isn't. You were talking about that the second wave of ascension we're in, the
Right.
second one, and the next one is actually
4100
4200
AD.
4100 AD,
Right.
which is 2100 years away.
Right.
But how these other beings like Boganathra and
Right.
and the Buddha and the
Right.
Christ and all of these beings, and Christ being the son of the Creator,
Sure.
100%. But all of these beings that have come to enlightenment and have
Right.
gotten into a vibration where they can materialize and
Oh, yeah.
dematerialize, or stay in a place and be in multiple places simultaneously, or like this Yogananda
Right.
be in a coffin, glass coffin,
Right.
been dead for how long now? And it
Oh,
doesn't
it's
even show any,
over 70 years, and it looked like he passed away 3 days ago.
no decay at
Right.
all on the
And
body.
Saint Clair, the cold sort, spiritual cold sort to Saint Francis of Assisi since the 13th century looks the same. Imagine that one. Power of spirit, brother. Power of spirit.
Well, and it's interesting that the Britain, England didn't want anyone to know about what was happening over in India as they were in there, taking over more territory, because they were dealing with like superpowers from these gurus and these all these folks. And so it's really going to be interesting. I'm very excited for people. As I'm reading this autobiography of the yogi, which you said was like one of the top 10 books
It's
read,
always
right?
top 5, top 6 in the world. Yeah, most read
So
book.
I'm reading this book, it's drawing me in. I'm looking at some of the stuff that we've been talking about for quite a while, even the stuff that we've been talking about for the last 18 months on the Patriot and Lama show. Sid Roth of Supernatural comes out 2 days ago and talking about what's getting ready to happen,
Right.
with the judgment and all of this stuff. Dr. Patricia Green came out multiple times. I told you about what happened when I was in Dominican Republic, where
Right.
I've been reading the book of Isaiah.
Oh, yeah.
And the day that she gave a prophecy on Isaiah, I think it was chapter 26.
Right.
I had read that morning 24 and 25, the 26 prophecy. And when you listen to that prophecy and a couple other ones that have the words come to her in the last month or so, it's spot on what you and I've been talking about.
Absolutely.
And I don't listen, I listen to the Heavenly Father and the discernment He's given me. And that's why my prayers every day are for discernment, for people to know right from wrong, truth from lies, and to live in the now and to follow the path that Abba laid out for them to accomplish the destiny they were created for in this lifetime. I mean, I want that for everybody. Everybody needs to have that. Everybody needs to focus on that, because the intensity of the shaking and the waking will have some people drop dead from a heart attack. But you know what the Lama and the Patriot do? We're going to be celebrating.
Oh, yeah.
We're going to be thanking. We're going to be grateful. And we're going to be helping more people stepping into their power by continuing to get out these type of videos and other videos, and more people coming to the table to help spread the word. I got to tell you, I've been saying this for a long, long time. Abba is tired of the people that are standing in the gray. You're either going full in the darkness or you're going full into the light.
Well,
you got to make a decision.
Let me say this, Jimmie. I think this will really excite our audience, because we have so many faithful followers here on the Patriot and the Lama show that's been with us, some of us since the beginning, of 74 episodes. And we're very grateful.
What's 7 and 4, brother Lama? 11.
And so I'm going to share something with me. This is the latest from the Lama series, and this is going in, and you're going to get a little bit of why you want to hear every week's episode latest from the Lama series. All you have to do is be on our free email list to get this. But I'm almost shaken to say this, Jimmie. But this is, I hope everybody feels. Lamasery believes that after the 21 days, you might want to write this down, that in the next 33 years, more of Abba's family will go into second birth that has ever collectively happened on the planet. That is a revelation. If ever there was a revelation, the Lama just shared with you a revelation of revelation. More people in 33 years will come in to being born of the Spirit, born of the Holy Fire, born of the Heavenly Father than we have seen since Adam was here 175,000 years ago. I want you to think about the times we live in. That's the most powerful, positive thing that the Lamasery could want to share with people. And it just really excites me to be able to share that today on the Patriot and the Lama.
Well, before we go and you give your blessing here, you know, the blessing before we go for our brothers and sisters, I want everyone to see this from Sister Lindy.
Okay, great.
Since I joined in May 2021, my life has improved from physical, mental, emotional, and my already strong spiritual life is stronger. So grateful. Even my finances. Best decision ever. Join COL.
Yeah, thank you.
Any of you want any of that? Any of you want any of that? Ask
Wonderful
yourself,
too.
would you like that? Would you like some of that in your life?
That's wonderful.
Do what Lindsay's doing with us at COL, and you can have the exact same thing.
Amen.
I can tell you this, what Abba's put into my heart. There's two ways that this is going to go for you. You're either going to just survive barely, or you're going to thrive more than you've ever have in your life.
Amen.
The choice is 100% up to you. Brother, you want to close with the blessing and prayers for our brothers and sisters today?
Heavenly Father, you have brought us here again today with a wonderful episode of the Patriot and Lama show that you created. And you have brought us in your light and in your love and your energy, which is the center of every cell in the human nucleus. All of our molecules, all the atoms in our body, every cell, every tissue, every bone, and every fiber is your glorification, your healing power, and now your protection. We are so grateful that you're protecting all of our loved ones, their homes, their cars, their businesses, their investments, wherever you take them. Let them know that they're in the right place at the right time, saying and doing for the good of all, including themselves, that they represent you, the highest power on high, and that you are sending the legions of your light angels to return this world back to you, Abba. And for you, we are eternally grateful, and for your eternal Son, the first woken of the Holy Spirit, who showed us all the way, our potentiality, sons and daughters of the Most High God. We give all praise and all glory to you. It is so well deserved. And thank you so much for making us a big part of your rescue plan. Amen.
We love you, brothers and sisters. Have a wonderful and blessed day. We will see you next time on the Patriot and Lama Show. Take care.